Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, Professor Swati Patankar from IIT Bombay, are you there? Uh,
I'm very much here.
yes, good to see you. So, yeah, I mean, we'll be very happy to hear your observations.
Thank you so much. So I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Perfect. So first of all, thanks very much to Professor Purohit and Professor Tiwari for this nice invitation to be part of this very interesting discussion. I'm Swati. I'm from the Department of Biosciences and Bioengineering, but I've also been the Dean for International Relations for the Institute. So maybe that's one more angle where I can give some of my insights or some feedback, perhaps. So I'll be very brief, and I'll give a flavor of what we have been trying in IIT Bombay, and I will also perhaps give a flavor of the um, constraints. So some of the issues that we faced, because of course that nothing is smooth sailing, as we all know. So I'll start off by telling by saying why is this flexibility in the national education program something which is very essential for students. Um, I'll give the example of my own institute. As you very well know, many of the undergraduate students, the BTech students, many of them stay in their core disciplines of engineering. If they happen to be from computer science, they definitely stay in that discipline as they move ahead in their careers. And in fact, this is very much related to the employability opportunities, right? So they have their very practical reasons for wanting to continue in a particular discipline or not. However, there are enough students who do not stay in their core disciplines in our institute, and they move to other disciplines. And nowadays, we are also seeing that many of the students move into entrepreneurship, because this is something which is being encouraged a lot, and it's really a very exciting new angle. So when exploring different options, and we know that they're possibly going to choose some option later on, which will be a much better fit for their interests and their personalities, right? So I think flexibility is key for the students. I agree with the discussion that has happened previously that it's very important for the students, but it's very difficult to convince the faculty. Because in fact, I'll give you examples of this as I explain what sorts of things we've been doing. Um, the faculty are not always that open to having highly flexible academic curricula. So how does one actually try to convince them, or how does one work on this issue? So I think flexibility is absolutely key, and this is a very welcome part of our new national education policy. I'll give you a couple of examples of what we've been doing for this flexibility in the academic curriculum. So for the undergraduates, which is the BTechs who come into the core engineering department, they have for many years now been able to choose from a basket of minors, which might be in a different department. They have a large basket of electives. And so even though they're in a particular department, they have many options in terms of what sort of coursework they can do on the campus. This has been going on for a while. But something that has just very recently been approved in our academic senate is our new liberal arts, sciences, and engineering program, which is also for the undergraduate students. It is for the BTechs. And this is a true liberal arts program that we have brought into our system. So when we talk of liberal arts, we mean that the student has the choice to take up whatever subjects he or she would like to take. Of course, the choice is not infinite, because otherwise it might get a little bit distracted and a bit diffused. So there are certainly streams. So there could be a stream where a student is interested in computer science and biosciences and bioengineering. So how would that student navigate his or her path from the first year BTech to the fourth year BTech? Another student might be interested in policy and engineering, right? So there are such interesting combinations that there are very interesting job opportunities out there these days. So in our liberal arts and sciences and engineering program, I will tell you first of all, what it's about. So the student enters in the first year, does all the core courses with all of the other BTech students, and at the end of the first year, based on their grades and their academic performance, 30 students can opt for the liberal arts program. Now, why did we decide to do it this way? Because in the beginning of our discussions about this highly flexible program, right? It's very flexible. After the first year, they can take different streams. Why did we decide to do it after the first year and have a grade, have a CPI, a very good academic qualification as one of the criteria? It is because, as was mentioned earlier, some of the faculty felt, oh, this is diluting the engineering degree. This is the easy way out. And in fact, it's not, because it's actually not trivial to be able to handle such disparate courses as engineering, civil engineering and possibly policy, right? Who knows? So we wanted the students who take the liberal arts, sciences, and engineering program to be students who were excellent academicians. They were very good in their academics. It was their choice. And this is a program that is something which one would aspire to do. It is not something that is, oh, that's some kind of default program that nobody really wants. This is something that should be an aspirational program. And we started with 30 because we know that if we start small, as was also mentioned earlier, if things work, if things go well, then we can start to increase the number of seats in this program. So how is it actually done? So we do have, a committee that handles this program, right? So we have a committee of faculty who are from different departments, and they actually are the ones who are sort of overseeing this program. We have also realized that this high level of flexibility is not that easy for students to handle, right? One needs a level of maturity to be able to handle flexibility. So we have it's very clear in this liberal arts, sciences, and engineering program, we need very strong faculty advising. So we need good faculty advisors who can actually talk to students and sort of guide them along the way of choosing this independent path. So that's the new liberal arts, sciences, and engineering program. And I should tell you that we are also doing a UG, an undergraduate curriculum revision right now. So I'm part of that committee. And this liberal arts, sciences, and education program, this LACE program, which is only for 30 students, is actually driving a lot of our discussions as we try to revamp the entire UG curriculum, right? So of course, the national education policy has been a big factor in all this. But the fact that we have this, LACE program already approved by the Senate is very nice, because now we have that framework. We know how we can build on it, or we have some ideas from that for the entire undergraduate class. So that's my, little bit of background about our, trying to bring in flexibility into our undergraduate curriculum, and a lot of flexibility, not just a little bit, a lot. I'll tell you, one more angle of this discussion, which is actually to do with your, with your flexible academic, program framework. You want to have, there's this proposal to have many universities and have a much bigger, framework here. I very much appreciate the comments about the BRICS NU, because, I was, part of the International Relations Office when that was being done. And, it's something which is really valuable in terms of trying to bring different universities together. I will just give you quickly my experience as the professor in charge of the IITB Monash Academy. So this is the joint PhD degree program with Monash University in Melbourne. And it's gone very well. It's been in existence for over 10 years, and we've had hundreds of students graduate. I won't tell you too much about it, but I'll just tell you one thing, which is that, for us to get to the stage where we could do a joint academic program with another university, which happens to be Monash, but I think one could generalize this, it took a lot of discussion. So we had to spend so much time to figure out how our two academic programs could be, sort of mutually, meshing. So there were certainly governance structures in place, and that was absolutely, that's crucial. That's crucial for the whole exercise. But before that, the lead up time of discussing to figure out what we can do together and what is actually compatible and what is not compatible, it took a lot of time. So my request is that, as we move ahead in our discussions, please also, let's also bring in a little bit of lead time so that we have enough, mutual understanding and agreement, so that as we go ahead, everybody's on the same platform. So I'll stop right now, and again, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the panelists, and of course discussing each of the points which turn out to be more interesting as we go along. So thank you very much once again. I'm done.
Professor Patankar, thank you so much, and especially your description of the new program that you have, liberal arts and engineering program, right? Or was it liberal sciences? Sorry, I missed that. Liberal arts?
It's all of them. So it's called LACE, LASE, Liberal Arts, Sciences and Engineering. So we are
Arts,
really
sciences,
bringing all the departments into this.
right. Right, and so yeah, that's a very good illustration of what is happening in the engineering institutes, and that's also kind of gives us some thought about where engineering is going, because one of the concerns that Professor Tripathi had raised was about employability of undergraduates, employability, and even Professor Patankar had talked about it. So these are issues that we can take up. I think faculty members are often concerned about what is the nature of the discipline, at least the idea with which they started off is that does that remain, or is it organically developing into something else? I think that's an excellent idea coming from Professor Patankar. Policy also has taken off in a big way in most of these IITs. I don't know about the newer ones. Definitely IIT Delhi has a policy school and an independent policy school now, which is great. And also the idea of departmental course has been revised, and a lot of these institutions are undergoing curriculum review currently. So definitely a lot of things are in the making as we speak about the implementation possibility of NEP 2020 guidelines. So we'll take up many of these questions as we once we end up with short talks by each of the panelists and go towards the question answer session. So can I now invite, so Professor